For thousands of years, humanity believed one thing with absolute certainty. Gold is the only real money. Empires trusted it. Kings killed for it. Nations collapsed without it. Even today, people store it in vaults as if it carries some divine guarantee of value. But what if that belief is not as ancient or as solid as we were taught? What if gold's power came not from its metal, but from the stories we told around it? Because today, a new challenger has emerged, a currency made of code, not metal. Secured by mathematics instead of armies, mined not by human hands, but by machines. And millions now believe it is the real future of money. This is the hidden conflict between ancient wealth and digital trust. A battle between something you can hold and something you can only believe in. And the truth behind this battle may reveal a much bigger question. What is money when the world no longer agrees on what money should be? This is the Financial Historian, where money, power, and history collide. World building. To understand gold's authority, we must return to the earliest civilizations. Imagine the dusty markets of Mesopotamia, where merchants weighed metal on stone scales. Or the bustling bazaars of Egypt, where gold glittered under the desert sun, treated not just as wealth, but as a symbol of eternity. Across ancient worlds, China, India, Greece, Rome, gold traveled along trade routes like the Silk Road, linking kingdoms through a universal language, weight, and purity. But the world was never equal. Some societies sat atop mountains of gold mines. Others had none. Egypt and Nubia overflowed with gold, while ancient Sumer had to trade grain and cloth to acquire even a small amount. This imbalance shaped history-rich civilizations, expanded their influence, while poor civilizations paid tribute just to access the global economy. Markets grew, banks emerged, temples became vaults, and gold became the anchor of a world where trust was fragile. No matter where you went, a Phoenician port, a Persian caravan stop, a Roman garrison, gold spoke louder than kings. It was the thread connecting civilizations. The world believed in it because the world needed something to believe in. Among the many thinkers who questioned the power of gold was Ibn Khaldun, a 14th century North African historian and economist. He wasn't just a scholar, he was a statesman, a diplomat, a judge, and a man who watched empires rise and crumble before his own eyes. He admired the strength of prosperous civilizations, yet he distrusted their obsession with hoarded wealth. He believed societies decayed not from poverty, but from the uneven distribution of prosperity. Like a modern economist, he analyzed cycles of inflation, taxation, corruption, and monetary collapse. And much like today's crypto founders, he believed that when money becomes corrupted by rulers, societies lose their vitality. His question echoes into our present. When rulers manipulate money, who pays the price? If money is supposed to represent value, what happens when the object representing value loses its morality? To Ibn Khaldun, money was never just metal. It was trust crystallized into form. Gold, silver, paper, or digital, these were merely carriers of human belief. Real value came from labor, production, and cooperation. He believed money was a psychological tool, not merely a physical one useful only as long as people trusted its stability. And while he lived in a world dominated by gold coins, he understood something few did. Gold is only powerful because people agree it is scarce, durable, and universally desirable. In a sense, he anticipated Bitcoin's future argument. Money is whatever society believes is the best representation of value. Ibn Khaldun warned of a deadly economic disease, dead money. Wealth locked away, wealth hoarded, wealth stored in vaults instead of circulating in markets. He believed when money stops moving, economies suffocate. It wasn't so different from today's criticism of gold, enormous reserves sitting idly in Fort Knox, central bank vaults, and private safes untouched, unproductive, waiting for crises instead of creating growth. Bitcoin faces a similar issue. Millions of coins sit dormant in cold wallets, lost keys, and long-term hoards. Dead money, whether gold or digital, shrinks the active economy and amplifies financial inequality. But even worse than hoarding is speculation. the force that transforms money from a tool into a weapon. In Rome, coin clipping and speculation on precious metals destabilized entire provinces. In medieval Venice, traders manipulated silver markets to bankrupt competitors. And today, Bitcoin swings wildly because whales, institutions, and speculators create artificial scarcity and sudden surges. Speculation destroys markets because it rewards greed over contribution. It replaces trust with fear. And it creates bubbles, the Dutch tulip mania, the dot-com crash, housing in 2008, and the crypto bubble of 2021 systems, where prices rise faster than value, until belief collapses. A market built on speculation is a market waiting to die. Healthy economies, Ibn Khaldun believed, require trust. Trade collapses when one side hides information, manipulates prices, or exploits the other. Today, we call this information asymmetry and moral hazard. Gold historically offered transparency. You could weigh it. You could test it. Its purity could be verified. Bitcoin offers a new kind of trust, mathematics instead of metal, a public ledger instead of royal seals. Yet both systems are vulnerable. Gold can be adulterated. Bitcoin can be manipulated by coordinated pump and dump schemes. In both cases, trust, not metal, not code, is the real backbone of economic life. Gold requires labor mining, refining, transporting. Bitcoin requires labor to hash power, electricity, infrastructure. But not all wealth is earned. Gold empires extracted wealth through conquest. Bitcoin whales gain wealth early by chance. Societies flourish when wealth rewards contribution, not exploitation. And decay when wealth is concentrated in the hands of those who did nothing to earn it. For centuries, rulers debased gold coins, reducing purity while keeping the same face value. This was hidden taxation, the stealth inflation of ancient times. Rome fell partly because of this constant devaluation. Today, governments print trillions digitally, modern debasement. Bitcoin was created as a rebellion against this manipulation, a system with a fixed supply, immune to political control. Yet Bitcoin has its own form of hidden manipulation: mining cartels, exchange centralization, whale dominance. No system is perfect. Every system is shaped by human incentives. Corruption always starts at the top. A king debases the coin. Markets respond with fear. Merchants raise prices. Citizens lose trust. The economy collapses. This chain reaction is universal. Whether it's ancient Rome's denarius, China's Song-era paper money, or modern fiat currency's, corruption destroys belief. And once belief dies, money dies with it. Money collapses when trust collapses. Weimar Germany printed money until banknotes were cheaper than firewood. Zimbabwe saw prices double in a single day. Venezuela's currency became worthless faster than people could count it. Argentina breaks its own inflation records every decade. Gold survived these crises because its trust was ancient. Bitcoin might survive future crises because its trust is mathematical. But both depend entirely on collective belief. Fear makes people hoard. Greed makes them gamble. Desperation makes them exploit. Euphoria makes them blind. These behaviors shape economic cycles far more than supply, demand, or technology. Gold rushes, stock booms, crypto frenzies, all are human emotions amplified by markets. Good incentives create strong institutions, fair markets, honest money, stable societies. Bad incentives create corruption, hoarding, manipulation, inflation, collapse. Gold incentivized stability, but also conquest. Bitcoin incentivized decentralization, but also inequality through early accumulation. Systems rise or fall based on the rules they create and the behavior they reward. Ibn Khaldun warned that societies collapse when the wealthy stop contributing and start extracting. Gold holders, corrupt elites, speculative traders, they drain economies. Wealth without responsibility becomes a parasite. True prosperity comes from production, innovation, and shared growth, not hoarding metal or digital tokens. Today, the battle between gold and Bitcoin is not just about currency. It is about worldviews. We face rising inequality, bubbles inflated by speculation. inflation eating savings, and institutions struggling with public distrust. Central banks print money at historic levels, while digital currencies rise as a form of rebellion. Gold represents the old world: stability, scarcity, tradition. Bitcoin represents the new world: code, decentralization, and digital belief. The conflict between them mirrors the conflict inside modern society: a struggle between old trust and new trust. In the end, the question is not which currency will win, but which currency will deserve our trust. Because money is not a metal or a number. Money is a moral contract. And every collapse in history was not a financial failure, but a failure of justice, trust, and responsibility. Gold may be ancient. Bitcoin may be revolutionary. But neither will protect us if societies abandon fairness, cooperation, and truth. The real lesson of history is simple: strong money requires strong ethics. A future built on greed will collapse. A future built on trust will thrive. This is the Financial Historian, where money, power, and history collide. If you learned something new today, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the past that explain our financial future.